Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope all is well. Happy new month. Happy Monday. Let's have a good time while we're here. I am here to actually do my weekly review of Married to Medicine. This is season 11, episode 10, and it was called Battle of the Exes. So let's get into it, y'all. This was a really good episode. I know some people are still kind of saying this Married to Medicine season is it's okay. It's not the best, but I think now we're at the place where everyone wanted to be, which is to see how Dr. G and King sort of got into that little brawl on the beach. So we're kind of like, I would say this is kind of like the prelude to that. But this episode, like I said, it started out really fun and light. It picked up from where it was last week, which was actually the water events. Everyone was sort of kayaking in the water. It was actually funny. They had a lot of funny moments right at the beginning. Dr. Simone, Cecil, Dr. Mimi, and Steve actually won, but it was just like really good. Like poor Jackie and Dr. Jackie and Phaedra got stuck in the water. Dr. G fell in the water. Dr. Damon was trying to help Dr. G and he fell back into the water. Like it was really, really funny. But we'll move on from that because we got to get to the real meat of this actual episode. So then we move on from that. And then also I wanted to say just a little side note. Dr. Eugene and Toya, they had some really good confessionals and really funny confessionals this particular episode. They're normally pretty good in the confessionals anyway, but they had some really funny confessionals, like from Toya just talking about different things and Dr. Eugene. The only thing I didn't like is once again, Toya sort of put down Dr. Eugene saying that she could have married an athlete, and but she chose Dr. Eugene as if he was nothing and no one. And like I said in my last review, Toya, you are blessed to have Dr. Eugene. Listen, if you had chosen or married that roughneck, that athlete, that whatever you think you wanted, you would not have been happy today. You probably would have been in jail. So be happy, be grateful that you have been blessed with a wonderful husband like Dr. Eugene who loves you. Girl, go on. It's like Toya has to like build herself up by putting Dr. Eugene down. And I don't know if she was criticized a lot when she was a child or, if it's just something that she feels she has to do because maybe she doesn't feel accomplished in a way, but it's really not a good look because like I said, Toya, you really seem, or it appears to us, to the viewers, that you have a really, really nice husband. I'm just turning my chain around. You have a really, really nice husband, and I'm kind of tired of Toya kind of like kicking Eugene in the back of the head sometimes. So Toya, stop it. Like you're a very nice couple. You've given so much to this actual show, but the kind of digs at Dr. Eugene is getting a little old and tired. So anyway, but we'll move on from there. So after that, Dr. Simone told everyone to go to their rooms and come back and put on, their bathing suits. They were going to have like a pool party. And, just told them, hey, come back and relax. So everyone was kind of excited about that, and that's what they actually expected. Of course, right before the event, Heavenly pulled Dr. Simone to the side because they were the only two out there, and Heavenly told Simone that Apollo was coming. And, Simone was kind of upset about it. You could tell she really didn't like it. She kind of had this kind of eerie feeling. You can just kind of tell in her face, like she immediately asked, like, did Phaedra know? And Dr. Heavenly said that, yes, she had told Phaedra, but you could just kind of tell that Simone didn't want to rock the boat too much because she knew that Apollo was on the way. But at the same time, I don't think that's something that Simone would have probably had agreed to or maybe chosen for herself. I just don't think that she would have asked Apollo to come. But anyway, the rest of the group, they started, kind of filling in, and everybody was ready to, just kind of have a fun night. It was funny because Dr. Scott kind of told them it's not actually a pool party. There was some sort of setup where they were going to be asked questions. And, they, of course, so everyone was, grabbing like the rum punch or their favorite, alcoholic beverage as they were coming in because they did have a bartender set up there. So, of course, everyone was getting comfortable. And Heavenly, of course, her and Dr. Damon were going to be like the people, who were sort of hosting this particular event. It was kind of like another version of the Newlywed Game. They've already had it before. It was some type of Vice. It was called something about Vice. Because even Dr. Mimi mentioned it. And I do have it in my notes. Or then again, maybe I don't. No, I don't think I wrote it down, but it was something about vices. But anyway, like I said, it was just like an updated version of the Newlywed Game. Of course, these were invasive questions that Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon weren't going to answer themselves as usual. But anyway, we're going to go on. It was still fun nonetheless. Dr. Damon just told everyone to have a good time. So they started answering the questions. And I don't even know why I can't remember that. Sometimes I guess when you're doing these reviews, there are certain things, you want to make sure you want to be true to the information that they give us. And for some reason, I just drew a blank on that. But anyway, so the game starts and they start asking questions. Everyone is cool. Now, of course, Quad, they were focusing on certain people's questions and everything like that. Well, Quad had quite a bit of rum punch. And when Quad drinks, I don't know if she's like a lightweight or whether she just actually overindulges. It seems that Quad is more or less like a lightweight. Like it doesn't take too much to get Quad tipsy or a little over the edge a little bit. We've seen that a lot with Quad. Like even in season 9, Quad, went on a rant. I think Quad and Toya got into it and she kept going and going and going and going and going. And Dr. Jackie was like, I have to let her run out of gas, And Quad was drinking. And it seems that when Quad starts drinking, she goes on these rants and she just goes on and on and on and on and on, whatever the case may be. Well, Quad was starting up. And I really didn't think anything of it at first. I don't think anyone else thought anything of it at first until Quad started talking about the question was asked, how many times a week do you have sex? Everyone had their typical answers. We've all heard these answers from these couples once before. But Quad and King actually said they have sex like 15 times a week. And that was kind of like a big thing, and they both were co-signing and saying, yeah, sometimes it's more in this and that and the other. And then the next question was asked, so it was kind of like everybody was kind of side-eyeing that. Well, then the next question was asked about what is your partner's parenting style, or how do you feel about their parenting skills? And so Quad was basically saying that, because everything was kind of driven or focused on Quad. So Quad said that King is a really good father and that, of course, just watching him, she's ready to bust it open and give him a baby. And of course, Dr. G and Sweet Tea, or let me say T, Dr. G and T were sitting right behind Quad. Now, let me just say this too. Quad and T can get along. I think their issue is Dr. G. I don't think Quad is not a mean girl and T is not a mean girl. I think they butt heads because I think Dr. G is so uncomfortable and T feels that and she feeds off of that. And, it kind of like gets going after that. But I really don't think that T and Quad would have that much of a problem if it weren't for Dr. G. So, but in this particular case, Quad was saying some things like she was like, oh, if you're only, Sweet Tea, well, T and Dr. G said they have sex twice a week. And so Quad said, well, you got to have sex more than that if you want a baby. I want you guys to have a Lunsford baby. And, and of course the liquor was talking and this, that, and the other. And Quad had that gate was open. Quad was just ready for whatever came her way. Initially, T and Quad were laughing, and then Quad said, well, I'm going to throw you a baby shower, and it will be a fabulous baby shower. And I think at that moment, everyone felt a little awkward. They saw where it was sort of shifting. It was going in another direction. I think everyone picked up on Dr. G's energy. And then I think they also picked up on Quad's energy and they knew that Quad was very tipsy and the conversation was getting ready to go left. The questions were written for them to go left in the first place, but I don't think that anyone thought that it would really go the way it did, especially between Quad and Dr. G. So anyway, things were said. A lot was said. Quad started actually saying things back to Sweet Tea, and of course Sweet Tea said something, and then initially it was kind of like teeter-tottering on the edge of, okay, we get ready to go at each other's necks, but they weren't there. It wasn't until Dr. G said something smart to Quad. I can't remember what Quad said, but Dr. G was like, we don't care what you think. Well, that set Quad off. And of course, T felt like, she had to sort of take up for her husband. And Dr. G was kind of like yelling at T, like, just don't say anything, don't say anything, don't say anything. And of course, T, just her personality, she kept going at Quad, and Greg was yelling at her. And you can just tell that moment, it was probably by far one of the worst moments for that group. This group has been together for 10 years. Of course, other people have come and gone. A lot of people have been in and out of the group, but for the most part, this has been a solid group, y'all. Let's have a real conversation about it. This has been a real solid group, and these people have been friends, or they've been frenemies, or whatever it is, but they've been together for a very long time. I don't think that anyone there wanted to see them fight. I don't think anyone wanted to see them get into it. Maybe some people do, because maybe they just like that energy, but it was very tense to see both Quad and Dr. G in that moment. And then it was very difficult to even watch King having to decide what he wanted or needed to do in order to protect Quad. And it was also difficult to watch T trying to take on this battle for her husband all on her own for the most part. So it was very uncomfortable. So, even in just having a real conversation about this, yes, Quad was tipsy, but as they say, a drunk man tells no tales. Like, sometimes the truth comes out. And Quad, I think she's tried to be nice. She's tried to be very cordial. I think Dr. G's coldness and dismissiveness of her, even just not even really wanting to speak to her or acknowledge her, I think it sort of brought up other things for Quad. Just like last year at the Met Gala, when Quad came to the Met Gala, she saw Dr. G and Sweet Tea for the first time as a couple, but that was her first time seeing Dr. G in years. And she went up to him, she approached him very nicely. She asked T if she could give Dr. G a hug, and you could tell it was awkward, but I think Quad wanted to make peace. And I think because she sort of has been given that pushback a little bit, I think Quad is sort of angry. And so now it's like, okay, well, I tried to be nice to you, and now you're giving me something else. Okay, so I'm going to give you what you really want. And at the end of the day, those two is like bulls locking horn. Quad and Dr. G really have that same kind of personality and attitude. They both have a quick temper, and you can tell it's not just one, it's both of them. And I think that's probably why they had a volatile relationship and marriage when they were together, because both of them, once they get locked in, it's like the Crash Out crew. It's like they are going, it's all or nothing. It's like, take the brakes off, look, we're going to just ride this thing out, no brakes, we're going all the way in and no stopping. And at the end, one of us is going to win. So Quad is saying, I'm going to win, and Dr. G is saying, I'm going to win. And that's a very dangerous situation when you have two people like that and they have no boundaries of what they will do or what they will say in order to win an argument or to win that fight. And we saw that. We really saw that Contessa tried to get up and get to Quad. And Quad called Dr. G a narcissist. She also said, like, oh, Greg, he's speaking to you. My man would never speak to me. So of course that was embarrassing to T. Quad is saying, letting, T know, hey, Greg is rude. He's nasty. And I'm over that. I have gotten beyond that. I would never let a man speak to me like that. And so we could just see the divide in the group right then and there. And Dr. Mimi tried talking to Quad. Of course, Quad was still going on, and Quad you could tell she was a little agitated because she kind of pulled back from Dr. Mimi like that. But Dr. Mimi understood. She's new to the group and she didn't want to dig too far in. I think the other men, they were concerned about Dr. G. And Toya and Contessa pulled T to the side. That's another thing. Dr. G stormed off, and of course T went behind him. Now, the one thing I didn't like is Dr. G was trying to make it T's fault. It really wasn't T's fault, because yes, Dr. G was trying to be quiet, but Dr. G was also throwing his jabs in too. And then, when they went back to the room, he was like, I told you to let this thing go, and this, that, and the other. And T is in a really bad predicament because she wants to stand by her husband. She wants to also take up for her husband, but there is history there. And oftentimes if there are previous relationships, a man will only tell you one side of the story. And that's exactly what Dr. G did. He told her one side of the story, which was his side. She does not know Quad's side. And my thing is that although you're in love with the man, you're still a woman. There are just certain things as a woman that we all can relate to, or that we all tend to agree on, whether, we all have different personalities, different faces, different colors. We come from different cultures, whatever the case may be. But there are common things that all women sort of feel the exact same way about. And I think that's where Dr. Contessa and Toya were trying to reach her and say, look, there's history there. There are some things that you don't understand. And Toya hit it on the head. One thing about Toya is a truth teller, and she hit it on the head. She told T, listen, you got to realize Dr. G is sitting there listening to Quad say she can't wait to give her new man a baby, when Dr. G was practically begging Quad to give him a baby years ago. That was like the contention of their marriage, because he felt like she was playing around and did not want to have children. So, Toya hit it on the head. And then Toya also says, like, hey, Quad and Greg had intimacy issues, and now this man has to listen to his ex-wife saying how many times she's having sex with her new man. Yeah, that's very, very, very difficult. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If you're in a relationship with someone and you see that someone is doing something different or giving someone else something different that they did not give you, hey, if you don't know what they're doing, that's one thing. But if you're privy to how they changed, and maybe perhaps changed for the better, you're going to have a problem with that. You're going to feel some kind of way about it. Whether you can do something about it or not, that remains to be seen, but you will feel some type of way about it. So Dr. G definitely felt, his own kind of way about it. And I just felt bad because, once again, T was having to run after Dr. G. But in actuality, they told her, just let him go. He wanted to take a walk, let him go. And of course, T was still calling him and trying to make it up to him. But really and truly, T, no matter what you said, no matter what you did, it wasn't going to just make the situation better. And Dr. G is so fed up, and he's so full because of everything that happened with him and Quad, that it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Dr. G and Quad, and I think I said this in my last review. As a matter of fact, I know I did. I'm not going to say that they have not gotten over each other, but the wounds and everything that happened, they still have not healed from that. There are still unresolved issues with that. There is still some open doors there. Not for them to get back together. That's not what I mean. What I mean when I say the open doors, sometimes there's just unfinished business. Maybe you wanted to say something that you never got a chance to say. Maybe, you felt a certain kind of way and you wanted to let them know and you never got that opportunity. That's what I mean. There's unfinished business, unresolved feelings, and there's definitely some healing that needs to go forth. Like, both of them are stubborn. You can see their personalities. I'm not blaming one over the other. I'm not, but you can just tell in that moment that they're both very stubborn. They're both very bullheaded, and they're not going to back down and say, I take accountability or I take ownership of what I did. They are both at that place where they're still like this. You, and not me. You, not me. And that's where they are. And I think that for Dr. G and T to be happy and for Quad to really move forward with King, they are going to have to learn and change that type of behavior in their new relationships and in their new marriage. Like, it's going to have to happen. They're going to have to stop pointing the finger and acknowledge who they are. And, the thing about it is, Quad was saying some things. She said, hey, I know some stuff about him that could ruin him. And Quad, Dr. G knows that and that's what he's afraid of. And that's why he's constantly sitting on pins and needles all the time, because he doesn't want you to completely rip him apart in front of his friends again. He doesn't want you to expose him to his new wife, and he doesn't want any of his patients or anybody else really knowing what really happened behind those closed doors in your home. Quad, what you have to do is, if you're going to be with King and you're going to be happy, you're going to have to probably go and get some therapy and talk to somebody about it, because you can't use these moments either to have those outbursts. And I'm not even taking up for Dr. G, but I'm just saying, Quad, if with you being in the group, you can't use those moments either. And we can't always blame it on the alcohol. We can't do that, because if that be the case, every time you drink, are you going to have these type of outbursts, or what's going to happen? So, guys, it was just a good episode. It left us with a lot of conversation, a lot of things that we could discuss. What do you think? Like, please let me know. I think I say it in my videos all the time. Like, I would love feedback, because I love to interact with people. Even when I'm on, Twitter or X, I'm constantly, like, I'm reading comments, and, of course, I'm not a person, I don't go back and forth with people, but I love to read comments and just to see, hey, do people feel the way I do? Or maybe, like I said, I'm reading someone else's comments and I'm thinking about it a different way. So please let me know what you think. Like I said, this was a really good episode. Whose fault, or who are you taking sides with? Or, like I said, what are your thoughts on the whole situation? Because it was a very serious situation. I know for me as a person, I try to look at things as who I am as a person. Watching my friends like that would have been very hard for me to do. For me, I probably would have been quiet like everyone else in the beginning. But I think at some point, me being the type of woman that I am, I would say, hey, Quad girlie, let's take a walk real quick, girl. Let's go. Let's get out. Because I would not have wanted to see her go down like that, or for the situation to go down like that. And I wouldn't have wanted Dr. G to push Quad's buttons so much that it really put her in a bad place. So I know me, I probably would have gotten her out of there. Like, Contessa tried to, but I think it was kind of like at that point, it had probably just was too late. You know what I mean? So anyway, but let me know what you think. I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, please like the video. Please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.